Nowadays, you probably could predict which political party somebody votes for by asking about a cultural question. How do you feel about immigration? Or how do you feel about trans rights? And of course, people on both sides of the spectrum, but also certainly on the right, have tried to exploit issues of identity in order to win votes. I'm not concerned in general about the fact that we might talk about identity. I certainly am not against people asking for equal rights and equal treatment, for full inclusion in society when they've historically been marginalized. Where I start to worry is in the rise of a specific new ideology on significant parts of the left that no longer believes that we overcome those injustices by living up to universal principles that stand at the core of our political system, but rather say we should rip out those principles and make how we treat each other and how the state treats all of us explicitly depend on the kind of group into which we are born. In The Identity Trap, I write about the rise of this new ideology. Some people call it identity politics, but that I think is too broad to describe it. I suggested the identity synthesis because this new set of ideas is essentially about the kind of role that identity categories like race and gender and sexual orientation should have in our society. And these ideas, I argue, are a synthesis of different intellectual strains, different intellectual origins, including postmodernism, postcolonialism, and critical race theory.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome to Man's Corner, Lappa's Corner. And it's the one-on-one session. But I'm going to be serious today. It is going to be very controversial. And I need people to put on their adult hats and just listen. We need to talk about identity politics. And it's a now conversation that all of us have to have. All people in all walks of life should talk about this and should understand how complex it is. Last time we were doing, we were discovering the mindset and how the mindset works and how powerful the mind is. And looking at identity politics, there was a debate that in South Africa that we can't have dual citizenship. You can't be there and the other foot is there. And people will be like, no, that's not fair. And it benefits them. You can just run away when South Africa is in shambles and come back when you want to, leverage from it when all is well. The problem would be if both countries fight, where you're going to be, And that's where we are with this situation of AfriForum and Trump. I didn't want to go in politics, but guys, let's talk about it. So the AfriForum has been campaigning that there is a genocide, and now it's only on white people. It's only on Afrikaners. Let me be precisely correct on that, or politically correct. It's only on Afrikaans speaking folk who are taking care of food security. I applaud them. They do that for us. And we tried to find out, I think 2018, and there was sort of mixed messages here. So yes, let's put it this way. They went to America to get help, and America was like, yeah, we'll assist you. And now there's there's some confusion, like they still want to stay. You see what I'm talking about? Dual citizenship? You still want to stay in the country that has a genocide of your own race. Again, identity politics, your race. You are endangered. Unfortunately, our history hinges on that all the time. But anyway, if they went to America, would they have a longing to be in South Africa? Because when you see reaction videos, they're like, I'm not going to have biltong. yo, I'm not gonna have my braai. Well, technically they call it barbecue nowadays. Oh well, not nowadays. They call it barbecue anyway in America. So you see how complex that is, and they have rejected AfriForum. Even the farmers in this land said, nope, we are okay. We want to stay here. And yes, country sucks. I agree. There is corruption. But we're going to stay because this is our heritage. They identify with their past, horrific as it is. They identify with it. They know that when they leave, they're not themselves. Some would go, of course. They're like, oh, yes, why not? So, can you see where I'm going at with identity politics? You have dual citizenship, you can go anywhere, but where is your loyalty for your own identity? Again, having identity, and especially in politics, and especially in a society, does have segregation at the end of the day. When it comes to race now, we know that race is a form of categorizing human beings in terms of their own visual appearance. And you know that an Asian person is like this and that, and that's it. And probably you will put some attributes or actions or habits that they have. Oh, Asian people copy from every country and make counterfeit goods. Or Asian people are the smartest, you know. Yeah, that one. Even Indian people are smart, you know. And it's funny that I saw a video where they said Asian people look the same, so why should it be a problem to say that? I'm like, wait. Asian? Where's India though? It's in Asia. And Indian people and your typical Asian person are not the same. So it's funny that we get to identify people holistically instead of getting down and deep into the being. And social media can be the one that segregates a lot, that puts people in pockets. Like, I'm a leftist, I'm a right wing, I identify with LGBTQ. I don't identify LGBTQ. I like this movie. It's dope. I don't like that movie. It's not dope. So you are bad and I am good. Already the segregation in social media. But social media at least does a good job by allowing people to tell their own story. We get to a world where we think we know, but we don't know until we get to be on that side of knowing. Of that side of climatizing to that level of understanding them. Anyway, so race is a thing of identity politics. And with the video I've played, even though it was short, you should go and watch the full length of it. It stems into racism. It looks at why we identify things that way. Like, people should have rights. So what is going on in the media sphere in terms of identity politics is that we are seeing like pure racism. And I know I might lose followers. I might be gaining more followers. And I know I might be trampling on people's emotions. But let's think about this. And let's think about this logical. Let us think without being ourselves. There's a way of understanding things when you look on the other side. It's better that we understand your enemy in order to defeat them, right? Well, this time we understand our enemy in order to embrace each other and live together. So, when it comes to social media and racism, I get to see that it's still, in this day and age, more elusive, but it's there. And when it creeps out, it's more of like, you don't have to look at it now. Let's just jump over and find some other problems that we can talk about. And I don't know if racism is going to die, guys. I'm not sure. And it's easy for me to talk about it because I'm an African, right? But I would love to have a white person talk about it. And there are a few who do see and talk about it and say it is there and it's bad. But there's a few. So let me get into it anyway. I'm a comic book fan and I like comic book movies. They are my recreation. And unfortunately, recently, seeing Captain America, for example, A Brave New World, I'm not promoting it, nothing like that, but it's part of this issue of polarization of views. First, okay, long story short, Marvel has been doing great, and then it went downhill. Marvel, the studio that makes these comic book movies, Spider-Man, Iron Man, yada yada yada. They have made great movies, and they went down with this agenda of LGBTQ or DIE, which is diversity, equality, and inclusiveness. So when people saw that, the real comic book fans, which make most of the number, started not engaging with it, and it lost big money. Now that Marvel realizes its mistake by not, and it's funny that they include this, but they exclude other people who originally were there. I mean, if you say that women watch comic book movies more often, it will be a different story. I mean, I would see heels that have Captain America, you know. But women and men are totally different. Boys will be boys. We love to watch action. Women in general, like soapies, gossip, reality shows are the in thing for them. So I don't think they're gonna be watching comic book movies, people flying, be like that. Oh, that's cool. I want to be like Iron Man. But yes, there are girls who play games. There are girls who love comic book movies. It is growing gradually, like women who are farming as well. I'm happy that is happening. But the reality is, it's a man's world when it comes to comic book movies and comic books in general, and fantasizing that you're a superhero. It is always a hero's journey that a boy puts himself in to save the damsel in distress. Yes, it can be reversed, and I do not disagree on that. But getting back to the Marvel situation, they had a decline and all of that. Now they are rectifying their mistakes. This movie, Captain America: Brave New World, they're trying to do that, and they are getting to a point where they have done many reshoots, and yeah, they are angling it in a way that it would look attainable or more attractive to the old school comic book moviegoer or fans that they have already in their database but were neglected. So with this campaign now, because it's campaigning quite well, this movie, there's a backlash because of the previous failures. They still have regrets and doubts in this new Marvel, and they're like, nah, we're not gonna have that. And I concur with them, but I started to see more of Captain America, not just the movie and everything that we can complain about. Because the movie looks good, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not being biased. Like the action, I mean, the guy ripping the car in half with his wings, I was like, didn't expect that he can do that. Wow, okay. And the Red Hulk, like finally we get something from the Hulk arc, where there's different Hulks, you know. So we we are starting to see. Hey, and I'm laughing because it is racism, guys. I can't hold it. It is racism. We're starting to see more of the fans. I can't see their profile and be like, oh, he's white or whatever. But they're saying Captain African American. And yes, the actor made a blunder. Or should we say it's a blunder? I'm not sure. By saying Captain America doesn't represent America only. And probably people cut the part where he says doesn't represent America only, but represent values. And people took it to a point where it's anti-American. It doesn't represent. Again, you see where I'm going. Identity politics, you know. He's trying to say that it's hope, it's inspirational justice and yada yada yada, blah 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 blah, the American way. And people thought he's just going anti now. He's not doing the right thing of being patriotic. But yeah, it is a debate there. So for me, from my side, I wouldn't understand because I'm South African. So I digress. But I love the character. I've watched him. I love Steve Rogers. I love Steve Rogers, and meaning the first Captain America, the first Avenger. I love them. I love his values. I also would take that principle. Now, when we see these comments saying, "No, he's not my captain. He's not representing America," they're more racial than before. Like they're starting to. I mean, the more we watch the trailers, the more we like, it looks good though. It's not that bad. And people are starting to say that. Then eventually there's a divide. And this is the race part where they're saying, well, these folks don't want to see Captain America as a black guy. And they're confessing, they're saying it. It's not me, guys. You can just go and check any trailer of Captain America, Facebook, YouTube, look at the comment section. It's not coming from me. But they are starting to witness that, there is a divide here, and it is about race. These people are complaining that Captain America should be Steve Rogers or Bucky. Bucky is the Winter Soldier, if you watch the second installment of Captain America. And it was the best. Hands down. Black Panther, Winter Soldier. Oh, Winter Soldier was an awesome character. I'm sorry, I'm geeking out. But we see this divide that, even though this character, which is the Falcon, who's an African American or Black African American, he's the new Captain America, and we saw it in one of the movies, which is like Avengers movies. I think it was Endgame, where you saw Steve Rogers, who's old, handing him the shield. But people they forgot about that. They went with that. They're like, it's cool. They should have complained then and be like, yay, we want Bucky. What about Bucky? And yada, yada, yada. Bucky, the Winter Soldier. So I don't know why are they still pushing this narrative of that's not Captain America. We need ours. And it's in the comic books. We always complain as fans that you must take the content from the comic books, not from just any way, from the comic books. So, long story short, we are seeing this divide of Captain America. And I understand, probably they want to see a white person because it was... I still don't understand, because if America was made by white people only, what about the black people in slavery as well? I mean, it's a different way of viewing it, and I'm not in American politics, but it is in our faces most of the time. We see Trump up and down. I mean, we are part of it now because of our situation with our farmers. So yeah, I don't see how to advocate for them saying that's not my Captain America. And this is where identity politics kicks in. I don't identify him as American. He's not talking about the right values, You have your own say. No one's going to stop you. But it is other people's point of view that might stop you because they want to see that. And your opinion is important, as I'm trying to point it out. But then again, everyone is consuming this. If you want everyone to watch it, it has to be for everyone. And yes, it has to link to the comic books. So tell your story the way it is. I see no problem as Sam being, which is the Falcon guy who's black, being Captain America. It's in the comic books. If they didn't like it, they would have scrapped it, but it's there. So again, there's a division there. Racism is always winning. It's saying, hey, I'm still alive, I'm still breathing, and this is what's going on. And this is a different generation. It's not like back then. So I don't know. That is sad anyway. And we've got this so-called systemic racism, and people say, and I say so-called because people don't believe it. They say there's no such. Even in South Africa, there's no such. No. There are facts, guys. It's always there, but it's elusive. As I'm saying, racism is so elusive, but you can find it, but it's hard to find. And when we look at articles, recently in South Africa, they released an article about banks that charge black people more interest than whites. If you don't believe me, look at the link. And there's an image already. Probably I'm going to put it here. There's an image. Here's the article. It's talking about it. Check that out. And there's a few people, and there's a few, I'm going to stress a few, in the entertainment industry, like Hollywood, that there is a systemic racism. They try to break free, but they can't. They try to tell their own stories, but they can't. Orlando Jones is one of them, and he made American Gods. He wrote the show. If it's true, we'll see the receipts and the evidence and everything. But he spoke about how things are in the Hollywood. Also, I don't want to butcher the guy's name, but the character from Blood Diamond, the character from Guardians of the Galaxy as a villain, you all know that guy, the black guy. He said that he's not making money and Hollywood is basically racist, And I argued that, others were saying, nah, he's rich and he's being selfish, and you could be right. But this is the first time in a while this guy speaks. And the way he spoke was like, yeah, it is time. I'm ready to tell you how Hollywood is. So that's the system. The system is ruled by them and the white folks. And again, it's like I'm segregating, but I'm pointing it out in a perspective that other people see how racism operates. And unfortunately, I wouldn't blame Hollywood the way it is because it's their domain. They can do whatever they want. Africans should work hard to get their own Hollywood. There is Nollywood and all of that. But again, if you're going to include people, treat them the way you want to. Anyway, I digress. That one is up to your own understanding. But it's convoluted. Well, it's more complex, but it is simple as it is racism at times, or maybe segregation or prejudiceness in that field. So anyway, enough about race and racism.